Claudia Webbe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm afraid this bill is simply not fit for purpose. I'm proud to have co-signed the amendment calling for it not to be considered. The coronavirus crisis has shown that the people who really keep our society ticking are not billionaires and the super rich, but nurses, its carers, its cleaners, checkout attendants, and many more essential frontline workers. Yet these are the very people who are branded as low-skilled by this immigration bill. This, Mr. Speaker, reveals the fundamental hypocrisy of this government. It does not matter how many cabinet ministers applaud NHS staff in front of television cameras on a Thursday night if they then legislate to strip them of their dignity. Mr. Speaker, under this government, citizenship rights have been deliberately obscured and deportation and removal targets have taken precedence. Yet this immigration bill makes no effort to end the hostile environment policies which were found to be institutional racist by the official inquiry into the Windrush scandal. It also does not end the abhorrent practices of indefinite detention, which has led to the inhumane treatment which has become routine in centres like Yarswood. I mean, I cannot believe that even during this pandemic that we are picking people up from their homes in Leicester East and putting them in barbaric detention centres, leaving MPs like me spending time trying to get them released. I mean, it's not as if there are any planes going anywhere, so why? Mr. Speaker, as the MP for one of the most diverse constituencies in the country, I know only too well the hurt that my constituents feel when the government legitimises the dehumanisation and marginalisation of African, Asian and minority ethnic communities with their deport first, ask questions later approach. 43% of Leicester East residents were born outside of the UK as opposed to 10% nationally. And our residents hail from over 50 countries around the globe. This is actually what makes our city special. Yet it also means that my constituents are more vulnerable to the predatory aspects of this legislation. For instance, Mr. Speaker, a recent study of the Health Service Journal found that 66% of NHS workers who have tragically died from the virus were not born in the UK. Our health service simply would not function without the sacrifice of people from across the world. Yet, if a migrant NHS worker tragically dies due to work-related illnesses, it is their belief the future of their dependent family members living in the UK is actually not guaranteed. This means that vulnerable individuals could face deportations while grieving for their loved one. Why wait until they die? Guarantee now the indefinite leave to remain for family dependents of all migrant NHS workers who are keeping our society going. I have written to the Home Secretary urging them to end this loophole in order to honour the dedication and sacrifice of all NHS workers, no matter their country of birth. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I was deeply disappointed that the government has refused to reconsider the pernicious immigration health surcharge. Any charge that deters people from seeking medical treatment is not only inhumane, but can also exacerbate the spread of the virus. The government has a moral and practical obligation to abolish the surcharge. I have also called on the government to introduce an amnesty for all migrants, including residency rights for the duration of the pandemic, and to end the callous no recourse to public funds policy. At a time when hate crime has more than doubled since 2013 with over 100,000 offences in 2018, it has never been more important for the demonisation of migrants to end. That means repealing the 2014 Immigration Act, reversing the hostile environment and shutting detention centres for good. I will, Mr. Speaker, conclude with a worrying provision in this bill which grants sweeping new powers to the government to change immigration laws without proper scrutiny. This government's systematic mistreatment of migrants over the last decade, from the hostile environment to the Windrush scandal, is the ultimate proof that they are undeserving of this unchecked power. It would be a monumental mistake at the detriment of too many vulnerable people in Leicester East and across the country for this House to grant it to them. I will be voting against this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.